The dark web. What hackers don't want you to know. Have you heard of the dark web? What's the dark web? It's the wild, wild west of the internet where anything goes. You can find all sorts of things there. From fake IDs, stolen credit card numbers, they can find your name, your address, your social security number. They can even find your medical records. And with all of that information, they can seriously do some damage. Oh my god, that is terrifying. So how do I protect myself? Have strong passwords, monitor your credit, and stay vigilant. You can also do a dark web scan, which allows you to see if any of your credentials have been stolen in a data breach. If it has, take necessary steps to update your password to make sure that they're strong and unique. You can also generate unique passwords and do a dark web scan using the Keeper security link in my bio. Get 40% off the entire year using CyberGirl40.
What is the dark web? Half of the internet exists on the dark web. Are people still using cryptocurrency to pay for stuff on the dark web? You can find personal passwords, credit card information, or even hackers and killers. In 2011, there was a marketplace called Silk Road. People were buying illegal stuff there. It was known to be anonymous. There were at least 100,000 buyers, and all of them were using Bitcoin. In July 2011, Bitcoin was only $31. People were even selling fake driving licenses on the marketplace. It was not until the police arrested the founder of Silk Road and they confiscated 144,000 Bitcoins in total. That's at least worth $4 billion today. The founder didn't get rich. Instead, he got double life imprisonment, which means the chances of getting out of prison is close to zero. He could have been a millionaire, but now he has to spend his entire life behind bars in prison. So is cryptocurrency bad? No. Dark web users lost interest in cryptocurrency due to a few reasons. First, the high fees they have to pay for a single transaction. In 2017, the fees for a single Bitcoin transaction is $50. Second, the currency is extremely volatile. It can go up and down, and it is not suitable for those who want stability. Finally, in the crypto world, there is crypto analysis right now. Someone in Europe tried to hire a hitman for a girlfriend. He paid the person $10,000, but the Europe International Police did a complex analysis where they managed to trace back the suspect. Criminals now need to think twice before they commit any crimes, even using cryptocurrency. In fact, these new statistics will shock you. According to a trusted crypto source, in 2020, illegal activities in all cryptocurrency fell to just 0.34%. Compared to 2019, it was at 2.1% of all cryptocurrency activities. There may be solo cases like Silk Road, but don't let a few cases like this paint a bad picture of cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is merely a vehicle. Measures have been put in place to reduce crimes. Although dark web still exists and people may still use cryptocurrency, crime using cryptocurrency have dropped. That doesn't mean crimes don't exist.
What do you think the dark web actually is? The dark web is a series of encrypted networks that first gained massive attention in 2011 on an anonymous site called the Silk Road. The creator of the site was arrested 2 years later and given more than 2 life sentences in prison.
Could you describe Silk Road? It's essentially an online marketplace where someone can anonymously log into the site, browse or search for whatever drugs or services they want, and then anonymously pay for it through Bitcoins and have it sent to whatever location they want, be it their house or a drop location or anywhere.
It's as simple as that.
It really is. It's downloading some software and next thing you know you're there and you can purchase a service or drugs very easily.
Not everything on the dark web is bad. For example, journalists can use it to send sensitive data to news networks anonymously. There is also many other less ethical uses though. There is no limit to what you can buy. I'm not even allowed to talk about most of it without getting banned. Anyone can use the dark web. You never know who you're talking to. Be careful. Someone could use it on you.
What do you... Here's why you should never visit the dark web. If you didn't know, the dark web is part of the internet that most people can't access, and it's mostly used for illegal activities. If you were somehow able to get on the dark web, you could accidentally click on a link that would scar you for life. Like these kids that were bored at school and suddenly started browsing the deep web. Then they suddenly came across a page explaining on how to cook a woman. At first they thought it was a joke, so they clicked on it. But it wasn't. Not only did it explain step by step how to cook a woman with real images, but it had users sharing their experience on how they cooked a woman as well. And sometimes, if you don't know how to browse it safely, the simple browse could cause you to get hacked or get your personal information taken from you. Here's why you should never visit the...
So a lot of times when people think about the dark web, they think about Tor, which stands for the Onion Router. There's access using the Tor browser, which is this right here. But really that's just one of the anonymous networks. And there are really 5 main ones that people think of when they talk about what makes up the dark web. So like we said, first of all, we have Tor, and you can download the Tor browser by going to torproject.org. I've made a lot of videos on how Tor works, but basically it routes your connection through multiple routers and uses multiple layers of encryption. Tor can be used to access the regular internet or hidden services known as onion sites. Next up, we have I2P, and you can download it by going to get-i2p.net. This stands for the Invisible Internet Project. I2P has gotten really popular as of late, mostly because its sites, which are called EAP sites, are a lot more dependable than onion sites. And it keeps you anonymous because it's basically like a private peer-to-peer mini internet. It's also really fun to just find sites on there because you kind of like build up your own address book. I'll make a video on it at some point. And next up, we have Hyphenet, which used to be called Freenet. They actually just renamed it like last week. But Hyphenet and ZeroNet are both decentralized versions of the internet, which means they basically split up sites into different puzzle pieces and have all the pieces hosted at multiple locations, so they're really hard to take down. Both these networks are fairly anonymous, but they're not as anonymous as I2P or Tor because they're more focused on avoiding censorship. And then last up, we have GNUnet, which doesn't really have sites as much as different tools to communicate really privately with other people. Like and follow for more dark web info.
These are things that people just don't understand about the dark web. It's not 96% of the internet. That's the deep web. The deep web is any website or network that's not indexed by Google or any other search engine. These are private things that are protected by passwords or firewalls. Things like your email, your home network, your works network, stuff like that. The dark web can only be accessed by dark web browsers like Tor, and you need a direct onion link. You can't find any of these sites on Google because the point is to remain anonymous. The reason you don't go full screen. The main point of the dark web is to remain anonymous, but if you go full screen, people can figure out things about your monitor like the resolution or the screen size, and these things can be used to identify you. Finally, most of the sites on the dark web are actually honeypots. If you think about it, a lot of people go there to commit crimes, so it makes it a great place to catch criminals in the act. If after hearing all this, you still want to look into the dark web yourself, pause and read how. Make sure you're extremely careful what links you click on and what sites you visit so you can stay safe and stay anonymous. Follow me for more cybersecurity content.
These are things that you may not know about the dark web, but should. Part 1. Wherever you may look, people are always talking about the darkest of the dark web locations. So today we're going to be talking about the Red Room. In most cases, it's a website where you can watch people being tortured and killed by mass maniacs. The question still remains, are the people being tortured? Some say there are horrible people who escaped the law. Others say there are innocent people kidnapped off the streets. No one has ever been able to find one of these Red Rooms. Most authorities believe the reason why is because they're just a gruesome urban legend. Urban legend or not, they're not going away anytime soon. Red Room may be the dark web's lasting legacy, the idea becoming popular far from the internet's reaches. Horror movies have been made of the concept of a digital update of the popular cabin genre of horror. The comics are getting into the action. Famed cartoonist Ed Piskor releases a monthly indie comic about the employees of a torture chamber called The Red Room. The dark corner of the internet isn't a secret anymore. Things that you may not know about the dark.
Okay, so the dark web itself isn't a marketplace, like what you're thinking. All right, so the black market or whatever you want to call it. Once you're connected to the dark web, Tor, the onion router, what I was explaining before, you still need to know where to go to visit these horrible websites. And they're like, imagine a very long string of letters and numbers, and the website, instead of .com, it'd be .onion. You can't visit those websites in a regular browser. You have to do that while you're connected to the onion router, which you can download at the Tor's website. And then you could go to a thing called like the Hidden Wiki, and the hidden wiki will show you all different categories of these websites with a link to them. And there's marketplaces, there's horrible things on there, like you said, for kids, and even like murder for hire. There's counterfeit money. There's fake IDs. There are all kinds of different websites that do horrible things. Okay.
This guy built a multi-billion-dollar criminal empire from his bedroom without anyone knowing. This is the story of a college dropout turned kingpin, a tale of innovation, crime, and controversy which rocked the world. Meet Ross Ulbricht, an ordinary guy with extraordinary ideas. One day, Ross had the idea. What if he could create a marketplace where you could buy and sell anything you wanted without being trapped by the authorities? And so, in January 2011, the Silk Road was born. On the Silk Road, you could buy anything your heart desired, everything from drugs to counterfeit money, even gunmen for hire. Obviously, the world could never know, and Ross's roommates would make fun of him for dropping out of school, thinking he was running an online bookstore. Instead, he was actually running the world's largest dark web marketplace under the pseudonym Dread Pirate Roberts. The Silk Road was so successful, it generated nearly 10 million bitcoins in sales, which was around 1.2 billion at the time. To put it into context, 10 million bitcoins at the top was worth about $500 billion as well. The site owners also made $18 million in commissions, and it was the fastest growing online marketplace of all time. Growing quicker than the likes of Amazon, eBay, Etsy, and it was all done without any marketing, buried in the depths of the dark web. The Silk Road gave Bitcoin its first ever real world use case as a method of payment, and it worked. To many, he was a hero, and to others, he was clearly a threat. The FBI was hot on Ross's tail, and eventually, they caught up with him. August 6, 2013, the FBI finally shuts down the Silk Road website and famously arrests Ross Ulbricht in a coffee shop with his laptop still open. Ulbricht is ultimately charged with 7 different counts, including drug trafficking, money laundering, and computer hacking. Incredibly, when convicted, Ross was sentenced to 2 back-to-back life convictions without the possibility of parole. The harshest sentence ever given to a non-violent crime, and one of the most controversial still to this day. The Silk Road was designed to give people the freedom of choice and birth Bitcoin as we know it today. As for Ross Ulbricht, he remains in prison today and is a highly controversial figure. Some see him as a visionary and others a criminal mastermind. Did he deserve his punishment? Let us know in the comments below.
If you see something like this in someone's phone, avoid them, because they have been accessing that web. If you see it in your child's phone, please make sure you get to the root of the matter. You see, the internet is composed of 3 parts: the surface web, the deep web, and the dark web. The surface web is what we access every day through search engines like Google, Bing, and all that. It's easily accessible. The deep web is composed of websites that are not indexed by search engines and require a password or specific credentials to access, like your private email account or a bank account. But you see the dark web, it is a part of the internet that is intentionally hidden and requires specific software or configurations to access. People use it for illegal activities like selling drugs, weapons, stolen information, and even hiring assassins. It's also a hub for illicit activities such as child, human trafficking, and other forms of cybercrime. The dark web operates on an anonymity network which conceals the user's identity and location. This makes it difficult for law enforcement to track down criminals or identify victims. So next time you see this on somebody's phone, someone is close to you, please do yourself a favor and stay away from them, because sometimes government officials disguise themselves just to track these people down. Don't fall victim.
The dark web is a semi-secret part of the internet that engines like Google can't get you to, that people use to do things without being seen. Here's how much things cost there. You can buy stolen Netflix accounts for only $1. You can get stolen credit card information depending on the limit for about $10 to $65. You can hire a hitman for as little as $10,000. And if you don't necessarily want to kill somebody, but you just want them to go missing, that's about $60,000. Yeah. And yeah, attack dogs are cool and all, but you can get your very own attack gorilla for $400K. The dark web is a semi-secret part of the internet that engines like Google can't get you to, that people use to do things without being seen. Here's how much things cost there. You can buy stolen Netflix accounts for only $1.
This is the darknet. The darknet is basically a hidden internet that only specific browsers can access. So you may ask, well, what's on the darknet? Stuff that I can't say because I'll end up getting banned. But this is because when you're browsing the darknet, it's completely anonymous, meaning you can't be tracked. And because of this, people use the darknet to buy and sell stuff that may not be very legal. But the darknet also has some pretty PG content, like you can buy iPhones for really cheap. You can even rent a hacker. And even Facebook has a darknet link, so you can browse Facebook without anyone spying on you. This is the darknet. The darknet.
Do you think you can get into my mobile phone?
I'll go one step further, actually.
Go on.
All right, I've done some research.
Have you?
Yeah.
Go on then.
A few years ago, I downloaded 2 billion passwords and usernames because you can get on the dark web. We'll go into that in a minute. This is a database of usernames and passwords that have been compromised from massive companies. And they get sold on the dark web initially. I had looked through there and I typed in one of your email addresses. And there was a password. I could have guessed this. This is a password that got breached. It was, of course, it was a capital you turn the into a at the end. Is that one of your passwords from the old days?
It was.
Right, so
It's going live out on no, you move it out, fucking hell. Do you think you can get...
Alright, time for a little more dark webbing. So boot up Tor browser. Connect. We'll go to dark.fail. Let it load up. Got it right here. Now we'll just... Oh, what? No. Full screen. They're coming. I'm just kidding, but I get this comment all the time. Every time I post a dark web video, people are like, he's opening Tor in full screen. They're gonna find him. First of all, who is they? Second, it does not matter. It kind of mattered in like 2010, but even then it didn't really matter. When you're browsing the dark web, a lot of people tell you not to go in full screen. And the reason for that is that it tells the website your screen resolution, which means that even though people can't track who you are, they could associate your traffic across multiple sites with the same screen resolution. Even though this wasn't a huge deal, the Tor project actually fixed this. So this is an Onion site right here, and I'm on Tor browser. And you'll notice that there's this chunk of gray at the bottom of my screen. And as I resize the window, you'll see that the site jumps from resolution to resolution. That's to keep everyone in the same subset of resolution. And when you go full screen, there's still a little bit of gray around there. That way everyone's the same, and there's no way they can track you down if you're the one person on Earth who uses like 1080p or something. Also, if you have a monitor like me, you can just set the resolution to be exactly what it would be if the window was smaller. Other people say you don't want to be in full screen so that you can still see if you're downloading something, which is fair, but there's a lot of other ways to make sure you're not downloading files while you're on the dark web. So thank you for your concern, but please stop warning me about this.
What's the difference between the deep web and the dark web? Now let's consider the following. The internet is like an iceberg. What we see on the surface is just the tip of it. The surface web is what most people use on a daily basis, like social media, online shopping, and news websites. Now let's dive a little deeper. The deep web is like the part of the iceberg that's underwater. It's hidden from plain sight, but still accessible with the right tools. This includes things like online banking, medical records, and academic journals. But the dark web is like a hidden cave beneath the iceberg. It's not only hidden from plain sight, but it's also inaccessible without specific software or knowledge. This is where illegal activities such as drug trafficking, hacking, and even human trafficking can take place. What's the difference between the
8 years ago was the first time that I entered the dark web. That day, I was in my basement with a couple of friends and we're looking up some spooky things that can scare the hell out of us. And we actually did get really scared. We ended up getting to a site, and on that site, there was CP. CP doesn't stand for cheese pizza. I'm not going to tell you what it stands for, but it was really bad. We were terrified. I turned off my laptop and I just sat there for like 5 minutes. Me and my friends just staring at each other like, holy shit, what did we just see? There's a culture of CP on the dark web that is not really talked about too much. That's why I recommend you just watching my videos, because you're going to end up stumbling across this stuff whether you like it or not. There was another time that I was looking, and on this user's profile there were hundreds of items listed, and these items weren't just like regular files or programs, they were CP videos, and there were thumbnails for every single one of them. In every single one of those thumbnails there was a man wearing a horse mask, and I've asked a few other people as well that have gone on the dark web, have you accidentally stumbled across CP while you were on there? Every single person that I asked said yes, I have. That's why I don't recommend going on the dark web. Be more aware of it. It's just like the regular internet, but it's just harder to trace. 8 years ago.
Okay, so the dark web itself isn't a marketplace like what you're thinking. All right, so the black market or whatever you want to call it. Once you're connected to the dark web, Tor, the onion router, what I was explaining before, you still need to know where to go to visit these horrible websites. And they're like, imagine a very long string of letters and numbers, and the website, instead of .com, it'd be .onion. You can't visit those websites in a regular browser. You have to do that while you're connected to the onion router, which you can download at the TOR's website. And then you could go to a thing called like the Hidden Wiki, and the Hidden Wiki will show you all different categories of these websites with a link to them.
A lot of people think you need like crazy high-tech computer setups to go on the dark web, but one of the easiest and actually one of the most secure ways is just to go on your phone. There's a couple caveats though, but if you do...
The dark web is a semi-secret part of the internet that engines like Google can't get